Good evening, everybody. It's so good to be here. This is a different kind of a setup with some new equipment. So I like to make sure that you can hear me speaking as well as playing. I want to give credit to my student, Michael Zheng, for helping me this afternoon with a sound check. And it's always different, of course. Little things could change during the course of a day, internet traffic or whatever. But I'll look through at the chat to make sure that if anybody would like to just say they could hear me speaking, if they need me to speak louder or closer to the microphone, I'll bring it closer to me. So I'm relying on all of you out there to see. Okay, well, thank you, Michael. We're good. So we did check everything, and we checked soft sound and loud sound of the piano and speaking, and I like to make sure it's okay for everybody because I don't know how you hear on the other end. If you're using a different device, a phone or an iPad or a computer or a laptop. So here we are. We have some wonderful guests coming tonight, I know, and it's the first time I'm actually playing a concert for Brooklyn College from my home. And I have two pianos, and the other piano, which is mine, is the larger piano, the Steinway size B, and it's taken quite a beating in the last year. I haven't had a tech in yet, but we're working on that. And this is my wife's piano. And curiously enough, she studied at Brooklyn College with Augustin Anievis, and she got this piano, which is the L model, around the same time I got the B model, and they didn't know each other, and neither did we. And now they're together, and we're together, and we're all here. So I'm using her piano now very gingerly, so it stays well. I movie comments to make sure sound is okay. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so Brooklyn College, wonderful place to teach and to learn. We have a wonderful student body there, accepting students from all over the world. And we have a wonderful piano class, which is so great because everybody gets to play. Everybody's nervous, and just like I am now. So kids watching, I know what you feel. And we get to talk a lot about the music, and it's a wonderful community. It's a rare occasion, but it's wonderful. So I want to thank our president, Michelle Anderson, for holding up the ship during all of this. It's been quite a year, but her staff and our staff, Maria Gitfeld and Professor Alexi Lewis and Dean Carnelli, everybody's been doing such a wonderful job to make sure that the learning keeps flowing, whether we're there or we're here. And doing it online has been fabulous. It's been working out very, very well. And when we go back, we go back. But for now, I have a lot of music for everybody tonight. And please feel free to use the chat on the right. You know, it's the one thing you can't do in a live concert is talk. You can't talk to each other. Gee, did you hear that bad note? Oh, gee, did you hear that? That sounded great. The pedaling is a little strange, yeah, but I like it. You can't say all these things in the middle of a concert. Here you can. And if you find it's distracting, you can move it away, I think. But it's a live chat, so interact, enjoy being together, and enjoy the music. I picked a very diverse program. I love doing diverse programs, and now everybody's saying diversity, diversity, but music has basically been diverse for so many years. I've always enjoyed and also tried to inspire my students to do the same. Play everything. And when I was younger, it used to be taboo. If you would play, let's say, Gershwin, they would think the orchestra won't have you back to play Brahms. Not so, especially not anymore. And so now they want us to embrace all styles of music, all composers, living composers, past composers, male, female, American, European, Asian, African American, Caucasian, Indian, Iranian, whatever it is, it's all wonderful music. So tonight I have a wonderful mixture of music, composers no longer with us, composers who are with us, popular music composers like David Foster, Adolphus Hailstork, Ellen Taaffe Zwilich, Lake Ueda, and my own music. And so we're going to have a nice little journey through musical styles. And I'd like to start with, and you probably have the program there, a wonderful transcription by Egon Petrie. I was given this music by Evelyn Miller, who was in Knoxville, Tennessee. She used to host the Young Pianist series in the Bijou Theater, where Rachmaninoff played his last recital. And she would have me play there quite often. And I went to her home and she gave me this music as a beautiful arrangement of a Bach piece, Sheep May Safely Graze as We Know It. And it's hauntingly beautiful. And I think it's a nice way to start this journey with you. I'm going to go to the real man, Bach, J.S. Bach. I want to make sure through comments that the sound is okay, if I need to tweak anything. You do get a little cracking, I know, it happens. I'm going to lower the gain a little bit. Okay, I made the gain a little bit less. It does change from connection to connection. So now we move on to a Bach toccata in E minor, one of the 7 toccatas. And I first learned this in 1977. The first piece Adele Marcus taught me when I went to her at age 16. And that was an eye-opener. My students have heard plenty of stories, but they're legendary and they're wonderful. And everything she was is everything I am, because she was quite a musician and teacher. But this was quite an interesting work. I wish you could hear it now, because I think I'm getting what she was talking about. But I do some things differently in the toccata. It's an improvisational work, so anything's up for grabs. So I'm going to try this now, and hopefully the sound will be better, less crackling. I'm surprised it crackled a little, but it was so soft. So I'm hoping the loud isn't so powerful, but here we go. Thank you so much. I'm checking messages. Okay, I want to make, I have a friend in Australia. It's tomorrow morning for him. Well, it's a little heavy, this music for you at this hour. Okay. I hope the music is okay and the sound is okay and there's no less crackling and you can hear softs and louds because it's every time is a new experience. We're good? Okay. Thank you, Ben. Thanks to Ben Strasberg, who has held all these performances and the calendar together through the pandemic and making sure all the students are getting their recitals and classes and everything in. It's a big jump from what we were doing. So thank you, Ben. So now we move to a piece that, well, I did play some of this for Adele Marcus when I was 16, and that was rather daunting. And it's the first piece that truly connected me with the piano, with music, more than any. It was Horowitz recording of this Appassionata of Beethoven. And I always had this feeling about this piece. Every time I play it, I feel like I've never played it before. It's a strange phenomenon. Of course, we like to say that about everything we play, which is true, but this is a journey, this piece. For some reason, it's the one that got me into music. And it's such a wonderful piece. And it's a time when Beethoven knew something was going on. He was getting increasingly deaf over his middle years. And I started that way. Do I remember it? I do. I do remember not hearing. I remember the fascination of sound for the first time at age 3 after surgery. So is that why I connect to Beethoven or this piece? I really don't know. It's a feeling that I can't put into words, but there's a connection musically. So I will just maybe stop talking and play this piece for you. If you haven't heard it before, it's an incredible piece of music. If you have heard it, I hope you hear it for the first time. As I play it like I feel like I'm playing it for the first time. Now for some fun. Now we'll have fun. Oh man. That I can memorize. These are harder. All right. So now we move to. Let me just get assembled. I want to see any sound issues. Everybody okay? Sound is okay. I just hope I'm not blasting your poor little phones out. It's a lot of fun. What a powerful piece. Okay, now we're going to have some fun. I don't know if he's on Lakey. Wait, if he's here. I'm not sure if his time changed. He may be in Germany or he may be in Japan. Usually if he's here, he's here. But this is a wonderful piece. If you know the Waltz of Chopin, this one. And he puts Winnie the Pooh to this, and it goes like this. And there's a nocturne that he does later. This one. You'll hear that later. It's a very nice piece. think the Chopin's easier to play. Beautiful piece. I hope you enjoy that. So we have next, okay. Many years ago, let me just check comments in case the sound is okay. Wonderful. You're going to get them now. Okay, Professor Lewis wants the new pieces. You're getting them. Now they're coming. Well, this isn't very new, but I'll tell you the story about Ellen Zwilich. And many years ago, I decided about 23 years ago to start commissioning new music. And, I didn't know from a female composer, a male composer. We didn't think that way. It was, I liked her music. And her music was very much performed by major orchestras. And she was, of course, the first female composer to win the Pulitzer Prize in Music, first female composer to get the DMA at Juilliard. Great. But she's a wonderful person and a wonderful composer. And it was through Lucas Foss who directed me to Ellen, and I contacted her. And we first had telephone conversations. This is all before email. And I sent her my recordings. I said, I want to do something crazy. I want to do a 50-state project. It ended up being 25, but that's okay. And I sent her my recordings, and she went along the journey with me, and I got all these orchestras to share the price of paying for this new wonderful concerto for the Millennium Fantasy. And 10 years later, she wrote Shadows for me, and she just restructured Shadows during the pandemic year for a small ensemble, and the world premiere of that new version will be in September in Idaho. And then I approached her in October about composing a new work in honor and remembrance for the legacy of late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's writing that, and that's going to be premiered in Dallas, so in October. And I wanted to play something else of Ellen's that was solo piano, not with orchestra. And I've always been haunted by this piece that she composed. I think it was published in 2000. But it followed the passing of Judith Aaron, who was the head of Carnegie Hall, and she was very close with Ellen while Ellen worked there, heading all of the contemporary music. And Ellen told me last week, after she had learned that Judy had passed away, she sat down at the piano and composed Lament. As you're going to hear it, it came right out of her. So this is by Ellen Taaffe Zwilich, Lament, in memory of Judith Aaron. 20 years ago, Ellen Taaffe Zwilich. Wait till her tribute to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I'm anxious. I'm very anxious. Now we're going to move to something very interesting. Let me just make sure sound is okay, everybody. Okay, thank you. So many years ago, I wrote some songs. Happy songwriter. Anyway, Keith Emerson was a very dear friend, and I performed and recorded his Piano Concerto and played some of his music. And I called him once. I said, Keith, you all know Keith Emerson, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. So we were like brothers. I still miss him very much. I called him and I said, I have some songs I've written. What can I do with them? He says, well, you got to get to David Foster. He's over at Atlantic Records. This is totally uncharted territory for me. I'm making phone calls. I'm calling Atlantic's office, David's office, his secretary's assistant that got all the way to his house. I don't know. He may be on here. I don't know if David, if you're on here, hi. This is the story how I got to you, and left him a message on his phone with my internet concert, and he left me a message, call me. And we stayed friends over the years. We've never recorded together. Are you here? I don't know, he may be, I'm not sure. Anyway, over the years we've stayed friends, and he recently wrote a wonderful set of 11 pieces, and they're called 11. And he wrote them last year, and he recorded them, and they're published. And last year, after he had recorded them, I said, I must learn these, and he sent the music to me. And I'm going to play two of them tonight. One is called, this is his favorite. Whenever I ask him what I should play, he says, Victorious. So out of the 11, Victorious, and then one of my favorites, which is like a beautiful waltz reminiscent of the greats, Chopin and Strauss, Tchaikovsky, called Orbiting. And it's kind of like your mind is orbiting and just going in wonderful fantasy land. I love the piece. So I played these two, and if you know David Foster's music and all the wonderful artists that he has made stars and all the wonderful things he does for people through his foundation, you'll hear the heart and soul of David in this music. So here's Victorious and then Orbiting. love the piece. I could play it all day. I'm checking out my sound. We're good. Yay. Great. Hope you enjoyed that. So now we're going to move on to a piece which I've had this music so long, and I can't believe I'm finally playing this, and I hope that you're on here with us, Professor Adolphus Hailstork, one of the great composers of our time. He composed this in, it says at the end, January 17, 1981. This piece is 30 years ago, published in 2002. And it's a wonderful piece. It's the 8 variations on Shalom Chavarim, which means kind of goodbye and, hello, goodbye, but it's a beautiful, haunting Hebraic song. And this is a wonderful set of 8 variations of Shalom Chavarim by Adolphus Hailstork. My first time. just received music today from his publisher, from Adolphus Hailstorf's publisher, a piece called Wounded Children. And it looks absolutely wonderful. I will start giving that to my students because it's a fabulous new piece. Leads me to this. After Justice Ginsburg passed, I was writing some waltzes this past year since the pandemic, and also a sonatina in 3 movements. But I felt very compelled to write something. At the same time, I was asking Ellen Zwilich about this new piece for voice, piano, and orchestra, which Denyce Graves will be doing with me in Dallas. I actually took the plunge and approached her through the kindness of Jim Ginsburg, Justice Ginsburg's son, who suggested Denyce. And we'll be doing this piece. I wanted to write something for solo piano, and I looked at blank paper and thought, I don't know what to do. It was October. And I thought, what an interesting name, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Her first name was Joan. Now I learned that after. I can't put J-O-A-N in here. But I took all the letters of her names. The RBG, which is translated through music alphabet, if it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So I correlated the musical tone with the letter of the alphabet. R is D, which I made flat. RB, of course, and G. So we have RBG, which you'll hear in different configurations. Ruth is R-U-T-H. Bader is B-A-D-E-R in different combinations. And Ginsburg is, you'll hear a lot of that happening. In one of the 2 climaxes, the first one, I put all of them together and I put the Star Spangled Banner in because she really believed in the law. And she was a wonderful attorney. And I wanted that most synonymous American hymn is in there. And then toward the end, after that, I have 2 big chords. I wanted big sound, so I used my full arm, 2 long arms of the law. Just really cover the notes that I need, I think. And at the very end, her nickname, which was Kiki Bader. My father-in-law knew her. They were kids in Brooklyn, and they used to call her Kiki Bader. So I put the K-I-K-I in the end. The K-I-K-I, you'll hear at the end. Here it is, Reflection of Justice, an ode to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Okay, thank you. So now, without further ado, Mr. America, George Gershwin, had he lived longer, God only knows. Talk about someone who embraced diversity, who composed music for everybody, everybody. Rhapsody in Blue is iconic. I'm hoping to record this new critical edition of the original 1924 orchestration next month. We're working on it. And there's a lot of missing things put back in now, some 88 some odd measures. But the style of it truly emanates from his love of Chopin and Ravel and Debussy. Of course, the old story, he goes to Maurice Ravel and says, I want to study with you. And I think Ravel says to him, how much do you make? I hear you're very successful. And when George Gershwin told him how much he makes in income, Maurice Ravel said, I should study with you. But he said to him, better be a first-rate Gershwin than a second-rate Ravel. And the Rhapsody in Blue will go down history with Porgy and Bess, probably his greatest pieces. And it's a lot of ragtime, Jewish dances, Freilochs, Kazatskis, blues, everything's there. And a couple of the motives that were famous for him, yap-bap-bam, bam, he started way back in his Lullaby and the Blue Monday, and his famous tag, you know, Good Evening Friends from Vaudeville is in there. It's in there, it's in the Lullaby, it's in Blue Monday, it's in The Man I Love. He has his rhythms and his thematic tags, but Rhapsody in Blue is so wonderful. It's a series of different motives that are threaded together. In Greek, rhapsody means to sew and to thread together. So you get a rhapsody of different music. And it's truly a testament of George Gershwin and his love of his heritage and everything that he came into in New York, the greatest melting pot. He wanted to write 24 preludes like Chopin and wanted to call them the melting pot, but he didn't live long enough to do that. Well, here's his melting pot, the Rhapsody in Blue solo piano version, arranged for piano by Dr. Alicia Zizzo, based on original manuscripts. Come closer. All right. That's it. Hope you all enjoyed that. Thank you so much for being here. Quick questions. I could check the chat if anyone has any questions or anything about music or, oh gosh, anything. Happy to answer them. And it's been a pleasure to work with Brooklyn College for, I don't know, 21, 22 years. Is it? Yeah, working on 22. It seems like a year. I have wonderful colleagues and Gabrielis Alekna, Beatrice Long, the great Ursula Oppens, who actually did a master class on Ellen Zwillich's Lament in a music magazine many years ago. And Reiko Aizawa. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. Jeez, my brain is a little fried. Anybody, if I'm missing students, please tell me. I think I have everybody. It's so great to be able to have our classes and work together as colleagues. And it's just so much fun working at Brooklyn College, and everybody's a lot of fun to work with, and we get along and we contribute to the kids and give them what they need, whether we're online or in person. And yes, and Adam, yes, Rieko's fabulous. She's great. She's teaching students in Asia now, so they're on the other side of the clock. It's been interesting, but it's been fun. And it's coordinated so well by Professor Alexandra Lewis, who's been at Brooklyn College as long as I know and more. And she was at school with my wife, and it goes way back. So her heart and soul is in Brooklyn College, and it comes through. She's very supportive for everything we're doing. And that makes a big difference for us so that we could do what we have to do without worry. I used to coordinate piano for a long time, and now she's doing it. It's helping so much because there's so much more now with the computers. So, and all the different students. So thank you, Professor Lewis, for all your help. And it's just been great. I hope I didn't leave anybody out, you know, with my colleagues. My brain is just filled with notes and I can't remember a letter. But thank you to all the students for working so hard and having so much more time since the pandemic to practice and play better than ever. But it's been really a pleasure to play this concert for all of you. And hopefully in person, we'll be in Buchwald Theater in the beautiful Conservatory of Music building we missed. We only had a little chance to be in there, but we'll be back. We'll be back stronger than ever. I call this coming few years a neo-renaissance. That's what we're going to have, and we're going to do it together. Thank you all, and stay safe and be well. Good night.